I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Why, hello, Earthlings. If you don't know that term, it was made famous by the one and only Jenn Lee. She is joining us today. She's our guest, and we are also joined by Mr. Dan. How's it going, man?
Disney Dan's doing great over here. Woo, look at me talking about myself in the first person.
Jenn, you are back. You are ready to spill some tea. How are you?
I'm great, but yeah, now I feel like we can actually talk. Last time I'm like, I can't talk about that, I can't talk about, and now I'm like, oh, I can talk about that, and I will.
Right. So I just want to get to the nitty gritty. You were eliminated last episode. You went against Jenny, freaking fierce competitor like no other. And we'll talk about that elimination, but I also want to talk about what happened after, the aftermath of everything. So you posted on Twitter that unfortunately a lot of the girls really weren't there for you. There was more of the guys who were by your side. A lot of the girls took to social media like Ashley, Victi, Melissa, and I gotta say, they put you on blast, and they said that wasn't the case. A lot of them said they tried to befriend you, but you just weren't here for it. So my question for you is, what do you have to say to those ladies who said that?
I think it's an absolute load of bullshit. And it's so funny. So when I first saw it, it's funny because I never even once ever publicly on social media said they were bullying me. So for them to start that out of nowhere, I was kind of surprised because I had never mentioned that before. I don't know if like fans were talking about it, and sorry, my dog. Can you guys hear
What
him?
is that, Jenn? Is that I can hear whatever that is? Is that a baby?
That's my dog.
Oh, that's
yeah, he's done this literally every interview I've had. He's just needs to be the center of attention. But anyways, sorry, going back. So I had never addressed this on social media, and for them to just out of nowhere just come out and say it, to me, it just looks like a desperate attempt to like get some attention off of this. I don't know, because I've never attacked them personally ever on social media. And at first when I saw it, I didn't even want to respond because I was like, oh my God, this is such a load of bullshit that like I don't want to stoop down and have this Twitter battle because it's not even true. But I will have to say everything they've said is completely false. And it just really sucks because of course some of them have been on the show for a couple times, so they already have a fan base, and the fans only see what they see on the show. They don't really see what goes on that's off air, and so they don't really see the relationships that people have that's not talking about game. So you don't see us like just hanging out. And so for Melissa, to me, that was the most surprising, that she said, I've been nothing but nice to Jenn and she was mean to me. I think that's ridiculous because I'm the one who's like giving her my CBD gummies every day. And CBD gummies in the challenge house is like treasure because you can only bring so much and you don't know how long you're there. And so I'm like, what do you mean I was mean to you? I literally shared my stuff with you like every day. So
why do you think these girls are coming out and saying all these mean things? It's confusing for it to come out of nowhere like this, like if nothing happened, why would they start all these Twitter wars over nothing?
I think they are friends with D, and like, people are saying that like they don't even work together. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to necessarily work together to be friends with someone. Like I wasn't working with Corey or like a bunch of other people, but I was still friends with them. And I think that's what a lot of the fans don't really understand, because all they see is what's aired. They don't see personal relationships where you can support one another, but you don't have to necessarily be on the same team in the game. And so for them to just randomly be saying all of this, I think they're just trying to stir up some drama so they can stay relevant and get asked back to next season. And I think they're just trying to stand up for D. So, and if you really think about it, like, all the people that said something, like Big T, Bailey.
Yeah, so these girls are saying that they tried to befriend you in the house. None of them actually tried to be your friend or help you in the game or anything, because Ashley also said some stuff too.
Ashley, I have no idea where she even came from. And Kayla,
she said
of course,
she tried to have a talk to you about the girls, the game, etc., and she pretty much gave me the talk to the hands. So that's what she wrote.
No, that's absolutely false. She never really even spoke to me. So like, for her to say that, I have no idea. And like, it's funny because, you know, Bailey's saying I tried to be her friend, whatever. And she actually made me cry. She literally personally attacked me, and Casey had to come console me. And I think I mentioned that in the last time we talked.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, Jen, because I guess Big T got word of that, and she commented on social media, and she said something about you wanting to stop filming several times on the challenge and you threatening to quit, and Big T was there to console you.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to any of that?
Okay, to that I will say, because I felt so isolated in the house and I was kind of bullied, I, at one point, and I knew I was going home at this point because I knew that I was going up and I was probably going up against Jenny. So I was like, okay, it's already game over. Like, there's no chance. Most likely it's going to be a headbanger too, because it's first girls elim. So yeah, I did want to quit. I was like, I'm over this. I want to go home. And yes, Big T was there for me. But I think after the show, I think, there was a turning point in our relationship because she was the other girl they were going to put up besides me. And there's some stuff that went on with the guys where they made like this plan to save me. And they were like, everyone should vote in Big T instead of Jen. And I had nothing to do with that. And I think, sorry, 1 second. And I think because of that, me and her did have a talk after, and she wasn't all too thrilled about it. And I mean, it's a game move, you know, and I had nothing to do with it. The guys started this whole plan. And I think after that, she was like, okay, I'm no longer want to be friends with Jen, and I just want to go support D. And so for her to like be on live saying, you know, like, Bailey didn't make Jen cry, which is a lie because the whole house saw it. Casey was there consoling me. So, you know, I just think, and when you really think about it, if you watch the scene where me and D are fighting at the table, if you look around the table, who's sitting on the table, all these girls that are saying this were all there, and they're all siding with D because they're all friends.
Well, you are a rookie. I mean, you're a rookie, so that's gonna tend to happen on that one. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: so you guys are having all this Twitter beef online.
Yeah.
Did you feel any anger towards the guys? Because it feels like what they showed us, it felt like Wes and Bananas almost tricked you into doing the Hello Earthling speech, as it's been called. That's what I'm told it's been called now.
Is that what it's called?
I just made that up, but it could be.
Hello Earthlings.
Was there any, like, when you watched it, did you feel like, oh my God, these guys tricked me into doing this for their own pleasure? And Wes also voted you in first after he kind of said he was on your side, I guess, you know? So we would like to know more. Please tell us.
Okay, well, first off, I think Wes is an asshole.
Okay. That's why you chose Bananas over him in our first interview.
Exactly. That's literally why.
See that, Benny? I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, I had a meaning. There was something behind everything I said last episode that I did with you guys. But basically, before what really happened, I guess Rogan had got a bunch of the guys together to not vote for me. And they called it, honestly, I feel stupid even talking about it because it's like, I think it's so vain, but they called it Operation Eye Candy, and it's so stupid. I actually didn't know about this. All they told me was, you're safe and none of us are voting you in. And so that was the whole premise. And I think that's kind of what transpired. And that's why you don't see a lot of the guys' votes when you watch the whole voting process. A lot of their votes aren't shown because they didn't want to show that whole operation.
So who are they voting for? If they didn't vote for you, they were voting for Big T. Okay.
Yeah, and so they just completely cut that out because and it didn't really go along with the storyline, whatever. But that's kind of why she doesn't really like me right now and is siding with the guy or with D.
Well,
So
speaking of your best friend D,
my
she
best friend.
she posted on Twitter. I guess she was trying to get your attention or try to reach you, and I guess she wanted to talk to you. She wanted to be friends. I don't know if she was being sarcastic or not.
Being sarcastic.
But I just want to know, what is your relationship like with Dee now? Have you reached out to her? Have you guys talked?
No, because I just think all of this is so dumb because this happened back in like October. It is April. So for her to be starting a Twitter battle and like bashing me on the internet, I just don't really see a point in being her friend when she's publicly bullying me when I haven't really even said anything. And so for her to, be like, let's be friends, I'm like, why would I want to be your friend when you're still bashing me as you're saying, let's be friends? And so, no, I actually just don't even care to like even deal with that. You know what I mean?
I mean,
And
this
so
is the first time anyone's been able to actually tweet about this stuff, though, without getting in trouble by MTV. So maybe that's why there's so much out there for content.
I don't know. Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff she's saying and what like people are sending me and showing me, because I'm not really reading any of it. Anything that's negative, I'm just like, I don't want to read this. But everything that everyone's shown me, it's all her personally attacking me of what I look like or just literally making fun of me as a person. And it has nothing to do with talking about the show. It's now like a personal attack. And I'm just like, why? Like, are you not a grown adult? Like, grow up.
Let me ask you this. Is Rogan worth it? Honestly, what are we doing here?
I told her, you can have him. I never wanted him. I told her that from the start. And that's what I even mentioned when we were feuding. I had a girl talk with her twice. I sat her down the first time we had a talk. She claims she doesn't remember anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit her down again because I just want to make sure we're on the same page, woman to woman. I want to respect you. And I told her, I said, I'm not here to date. This isn't a dating show. If it was a dating show, I would have already been on one and I don't want to be. So I'm not here for Rogan. You can have him. And I told her, like, I just want to make you feel comfortable. And she had said, it really bothers me when Rogan talks to you. So I don't want you to talk to him. So I was like, okay, like, deal, girl code, like, because I don't want to piss her off. She's, a vet and she has friends in the house. And so I was like, okay, deal. And so I would literally avoid Rogan like the Black Plague. And then after I heard her talking shit, I was like, girl code is over. Like, I did my part to be nice and you're trying to campaign against me. So no.
Well, speaking of Rogan, did you guys ever, after the show, was there a special connection between you two?
No, I did see him, like I said, like when and he was in LA, we still talk. We talked the other day, actually. He actually wants to go live together, but I don't know. We'll, whatever. And so
he goes live all the time. I see his Instagram. He's going live.
Yeah, he's live all the time. He was like, whatever you want, I'll back you up. Like, we can go live together. But I'm like, I don't know if I even want to deal with any of this anymore. But we are just friends. We're just friends.
Okay, because to me, it did. His infatuation with you in episode 2 was very obvious. He was not trying to hide it.
Did it seem like I liked him?
No, and I was just going to say,
it actually didn't.
It didn't seem like you were flirting. Well, that's what I was going to say. It didn't seem like you were actually flirting back. It just seemed like you were having a conversation with the guy. Exactly. So to me, it seemed one-sided. And I mean, Jen, people are going to blow up all over the live chat right now, but I would be attracted to you as well. I mean, what guy, what straight dude would be like, wow, this girl's not attractive? I mean, they obviously want to talk to you, and that's fine. But I didn't see it back from your side, I guess is my point with the whole thing.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say here. Like, I'm like, you can have him. He's your man. Like, he's your person that you have to deal with, like, I don't really want to be involved. So it was like, I just happened to get stuck in a love triangle that I didn't want to be in. And so
there it is.
Yeah, I just happened to like literally, like I said, I remember I was having a conversation with like Bananas and like whoever else was there. I think it was like Bear or something. And they were like, "Oh, you're a homewrecker." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." Like, she's just mad that I purely existed in the same room.
Wait, Bear said that you're a homewrecker?
Or I think it was like Bananas or someone. It was, I don't remember who it was.
Because we really want it to be Bear though, because of what's going to happen with him and Kayla. So.
Oh yeah, I don't think it was Bear then. I think it was
Okay.
Johnny, and I think he was standing there in the conversation. I don't think those words came out of his mouth though.
Okay.
Well,
so you got thrown into elimination against Jenny. I just want to know what was going in your head when you got to the actual elimination and you're about to go against Jenny.
About to get annihilated.
I'm just like, what were your thoughts? Were you like,
what were your thoughts? Were you like, that sucks? Or like,
well, no, I was hoping D would come down. No, I was hoping D would come down and we could get a more interesting match, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
This is where me and Dan differ. I want to know what you think about D not coming down, because I get it. You know, you guys aren't best friends. She even admitted if she lost to you, she would never be able to get over it. So I can kind of understand why she played it safe. What do you think about Big D? I mean, not Big D, about her not coming down. Yeah.
Well, first off, walking into Purgatory, I already knew. I had actually known for days at that point that I was going in against Jenny. So that's why I was like, I'm over this. I should probably just go home now because it's obviously going to be a headbanger. So I walk in and I see, you know, the whole setup and I'm like, oh shit, this is legit a headbanger. Like, what the fuck? I'm screwed. And so at that point I was like, game over. Like, I should just walk out of Purgatory now. But when they said that and said, you know, D has a chance to come down herself and beat me herself, I was like, do it. Like, you've talked so much shit about me this whole time. You've talked about how you want to send my ass home and all that. Then do it. Like, prove it. You like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, do it. And honestly, I think it would have been a lot more interesting to watch than Jenny do it in 5 seconds. So I think it would have made great TV, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be a fight over a boy because it's literally not. I mean, for her it is, but for me, like you said, it doesn't seem like I was flirting with Rogan back at all. And so that's why I was like, oh God, if we do go head to head, it's going to be like the battle for Rogan, which is not what I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just think it's funny that she's talking all this shit and saying, no, I'm scared to lose against Jenn. So I don't know.
How heavy were those? What were those contraptions that you had to push up during elimination? Were they that heavy?
That's the thing. They weren't like, I thought it was going to be like boulders. So it wasn't as heavy as I thought it would be. But for me, I thought that's what made it harder because it was harder to get momentum swinging them. And so by the time I got one over, I was like, okay, now I kind of see the strategy of how to like get it started. And then when I was on my second one, I look over and Jenny's like done. So I was like, cool. So sick. Great match. Like so fair. But yeah, so I mean, but I lost fair and square, like no doubt about it. I lost.
Do you see any type of a friendship with D? Because there's definitely, you know how MTV they'll pair people up as rivals on future seasons. So I can definitely see that. But
it's so funny.
Do you see any reconciliation with D? Would you ever reach out to her and be like, hey, let's talk, let's squash this, let's be cool?
So I personally would never, because of everything she's said and done post the show airing. Everything that happened while on the show, I'm like, whatever, it's a game. I get it. I don't take it personal. You wanted to send my ass home, like, because over a boy, whatever, that's your own MO, whatever. But it was just how she handled things after the show. And she's just publicly bashing me, like, and not just about game stuff, just me as a person. And so
What is she
no,
bashing you? What is she bashing you about? Just as a like, what could she possibly be
she's just
saying?
like literally making fun of what I look like, telling her fans to go talk shit to me. Like, it's like a personal vendetta at this point. And I'm just like, why? Like, don't you have other things to do in your day? Like, come on, like, get a life.
It's so interesting. I was the biggest D fan for the first 2 seasons she was on, and then
Yeah.
last episode I'm like on the fence about her now.
A lot
And
of people are saying
Benny and
that.
Pam though, Benny and Pam, not to talk to them, but they said they actually like D more now. But like
Oh, really?
hearing, it's interesting. No, I'm just saying, hearing the stuff that she's saying like mean about you, where she is the way I look at it, she's also changing her physical appearance every season she comes on. She looks different. She's doing stuff to her face and body, and I don't think that she would want anyone talking bad about that. So for her to say stuff about another female in that way, not that I'm saying you had
Exactly.
anything done, I just don't
She's just
agree
like
with.
making fun of me, saying I look like an alien and all this other stuff. And then like I just think that's like the
It's just so
biggest low
silly.
blow. Like I would never insult someone for what they look like and
Right.
whatever. And so I think at this point, I'm like, I just don't even care to have someone like that like involved in my life, because I just think it's beneath me and it's menial and I don't need people like that. But a lot of fans are saying, oh, rivals, like Jen and Dion rivals. And honestly, I'm like, I'd rather like walk off a cliff than do rivals with her, to be honest.
Jen, you know it's gonna happen.
Jen,
I
you have
know
to do it though.
everyone's talking about it. Everyone's sliding into my DMs saying rivals 4, rivals with D, like you need to put them on a team. Like I'd love to watch that. And I'm like, oh dear God. Like imagine if it was like teams of 3 and it was me, her, and Rogan. Like
It would be amazing, but that's amazing
That
TV.
would
We all
be
want to see
really
that.
good.
of course,
Though.
you
I
guys
didn't
would
even
love to
think
watch
about
that. But I would
Hell yeah.
just be sitting there like, but actually that would be really interesting because we're on the same team. It's not like she's gonna like make us lose. Do you know what I mean? It would just
Right.
be
No,
us
that's the best thing
bickering.
about rivals is you have to help someone you're not a huge fan of.
Yeah,
That's the
you
best
have
thing
to
about it.
win because you can't just like be like, oh, I'm gonna make us lose because I don't like you. It's like you're kind of stuck with me.
How did you can we talk about the challenge on episode 2? You and Josh were teamed up with someone else. I don't know who it was.
Oh yeah, it was
But
me, Josh, and Bailey.
oh, Bailey. Okay, great. And
Yeah.
Josh seemed to be like, I mean, I love Josh every episode.
Yeah.
I like him more and more. And I mean, he was carrying too. He was really helping you out. He seemed like he was
Yeah.
really good at like lighting the fire and being super positive reinforcement for you, right?
Yeah, no, Josh is such a positive guy. We actually just spoke like 2 days ago. He did help me out a lot because those barrel gun case things were so heavy.
What
And
was
I
the
don't
weight? Did they give you a weight? Did TJ ever tell you the
They
weight of those
don't
things?
tell us, but I'm gonna say close to like 50, 60 pounds. Like they were really heavy. Like I couldn't even get it up on my shoulder unless someone like put it there. And so
And that
it
was a
was,
mile. You had to carry that thing a mile each time?
I don't know if it was a mile, but it was like, it's hard because it was not just like a trail, it was also uphill. You had to bring it
Okay.
uphill on that like thing. Um, but yeah, no, Josh definitely like pulled it out. And he also had 2 girls on his team, 2 rookie girls on his team versus everyone else that might have like vets or like 2 guys and 1 girl, whatever. And so, yeah, no, Josh definitely helped me for sure. But
Yeah, I read about that in our comment section from last week. Someone was like, "Oh, these teams weren't fair because the teams with 2 guys and 1 girl were all the ones that made it to the
that's
second round or
literally
something."
what
And then I was
happened.
like, "Oh my God, how did I miss that?" Because that's
Yeah.
honestly, guys are stronger than girls most of the time, and that's a
Yeah.
really unfair advantage.
Yeah.
And so that's the
Yeah.
thing, like the teams were pulled at random. And so when we got our team matchings, like we all thought about it and we're like, wait a minute, some of the teams have 2 guys, like 2 vet
Yeah.
guys and a girl.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
2 vet guys and a vet girl. Then I'm like, what the fuck? And then some of us had 2 rookie girls. Like Josh had 2 rookie girls and then him. And so
Right.
it was literally like if you watch,
That's tough.
everyone that didn't make it to the next one literally was a 2 guy, 1 girl team. So I mean, I'm not saying blaming anyone or anything, like, you know, what happened, but that's definitely something we all thought about and we're like, wait a minute. These
You guys
teams
You guys didn't get last place though, right?
we did not get last place. I believe it was Honestly, I don't remember, but I know we weren't last. I know we got like a couple more than whoever was last.
Okay. I
Yeah.
want to talk about your speech
Oh my
to the
God.
group to
The worst
keep
speech
you in.
ever.
So going in, and I read in an interview that you kind of knew that Wes was playing you.
Yeah, it's Wes. Come on.
Why did you continue to go along with his speech then if you knew he was playing you?
Okay, so I will say this. First off, it's Wes. He's an asshole, and of course, to him, it's like funny. And second, he's really good friends with D, who's trying to throw me in. So I'm like, this is weird. Do you know what I mean? So I knew, but at the same time, I was like, the points that he had in his speech were like kind of right. When he said, you should save me for the final. Like, why would you want to give it to someone like Jenny, who's going to now skate to the final and things like that? So the points he had, I was like, okay, that's fair. And at the same time, I was like, I'm going home already, regardless of whether I don't get voted in. D's on tribunal. If I don't get voted in, she's throwing my ass in. So either way, I was going home. So I was like,
my whole thing, I mean, in theory, Jen, if you had stayed longer, you would still have to get a red skull though to make it to a final.
If I did, I wouldn't want to go up against Jenny.
Of course. I mean, we all know that. But my point is that, I mean, if they weren't trying to vote in Jenny that first week, shouldn't you have been pushing to go in and have a better chance of going against maybe a weaker opponent, I guess, is the question. Because you didn't want to go in at all. I know it's because it was Jenny. But if it wasn't Jenny, I'm assuming you'd be on the forefront volunteering to just give it a shot because you got to get that red skull.
That's true, but not when D's on tribunal and someone who's has a vengeance against you is literally going to make this like difficult for me. So I would rather do it when there's someone else on tribunal who's going to put in someone who's like kind of a fair matchup, like Victi, or like someone that's like similar to my build, you know what I mean, versus someone who's like the buffest, strongest
how
girl
tall
on
are
planet
you?
Earth.
How tall are you, Jen?
I'm 5'7".
Okay, so you're on the taller side though. Okay, people have said how
Really?
tiny you are. Well,
I mean, I think I have a small build. Like my arms are small and whatever.
When people say small, I often think short as well. But I mean, yes, you're very lean, obviously. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just like physically, like our body building, like the way we're built. Me, Jenny, are just not.
I mean, yes.
Who's one girl you wish you could have gone up against that you think you can beat other than D? Let's leave D out of it. But,
let's leave her out of this. I think the closest to, like, I don't want to say like I could have beat her to anybody because like I don't know that, but I will say who I think is the closest to my body type that I could have gone up against would probably be Victi, because she's also kind of new. Like she was on one season of War of the Worlds, and then she kind of got out early, and so I feel like we're kind of both on the same level of like newness of not having done eliminations before too. So I think we would have been probably like the most fair matchup. But I mean, at the same time, this game isn't about being fair. So whatever.
And I have a question about that. And either of you, correct me if I'm wrong, because if I remember correctly, last episode, Big T was saying that she wanted to go in and prove herself.
Yeah.
And then Jen, you said that there was a plan to send Big T in. Big T found out about that and she got mad, but didn't she want? I guess that's where I'm confused. Didn't she want to go in?
She didn't. At the time, she did not want to go in, because at the time everyone was like, oh, like if you go in, you're probably not coming back out because all these strong girls want to go in. Everyone was like fighting to go in against me. Like you see in the deleted scene today, like Tori wanted to go in and Jenny wanted to go in. So whoever was going in that week probably was going to go up against a really strong player. And so she says that in her interview, but at the time she did not want to go in. And this is like the kind of stuff that you don't see. Do you know what I mean? But so that's why she was upset. And then the guys trying to put her in, and then I don't know. It was a whole big drama. But yeah.
And so the whole reason why because there was that plan to keep you in the game. The whole reason was, I remember Josh tweeting, Wes decided last minute to
jump ship. And that's why I was
out.
so shocked, because when we had this meeting, when I was writing my speech, all the guys in that room were like, we're not voting you in. Don't worry. That's all they told me. They didn't tell me why or this whole operation thing. They just said, we're not voting you. And I was like, that's cool. And so Wes, when he said, and then I'm voting Jenn in, my face when I was shocked is real, because I was like, wait, I thought you were part of this plan. And that's what Josh even said. He was like, Wes jumped ship last minute. And so, yeah. So Josh,
do you think you should have just read the speech verbatim?
No, hell no.
Hey, Jenn,
I feel like if I read it verbatim, I would have looked even dumber.
I remember Wes. No, go
ahead, Benny. No, I got to go.
I remember.
I was just gonna say the facial expressions on the people when you were saying your speech were priceless. That's all I'm saying.
It was great.
I remember Wes said, "What if she takes out the notes and reads them off of the notes?" And I was like, "Please, Jenn, don't do that.
Exactly.
Don't do that."
No, I'm not that dumb. I was like, I'll use the bullet points that he gave me, because some of the bullet points that he said were right. Like, don't you want to run the final against me versus against Jenny, who's probably gonna kick your ass? And so, the points I said, but like, in the beginning I said, but the rest of it, I was like, I'm not pulling out this sheet of paper. That would have been, right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Are you being timed out already, Benny?
I'm being timed out. Final question.
Yeah.
Jenn, this is the money question. Are you down for another season or multiple seasons of the challenge?
I'm going to have to say yes or no, because yes, I'm game, but at the same time, I'm really not trying to do rivals with D. Like, I'd really rather not. But I know a lot of people are rooting for that to happen. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So we're going to see you on Rivals 3. Fantastic. Can't wait.
Yeah. Can't wait.
That's perfect. Super fun.
All right, Jenn, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, for spilling the tea, giving us the dirt. Why don't you go ahead and give all of our listeners your social media?
So my Insta is at Jenn Leezy, JENNLEEZY, and on Twitter I am _JENNLEE_. So Jenn Leezy and at Jenn Lee _ on Twitter.
Dan, go ahead and sign us out.
Hey, Jenn, I just want to say you are the hottest alien I've ever seen in my life. So don't even sweat the tweets. And my name is Dan Lindgren. You guys can hit me up at Idiot Box Boys on TikTok. That's where I'm rocking and rolling. Benny, what do you got to say?
And you guys can find me on all social media at Benny J Adams. Once again, thank you, Jenn, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see you guys tomorrow for another review of the Challenge Total Madness.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.